Oh, okay.
Hello, welcome everybody. This is our DMS, the overview of Bluebeam Review Extreme. The intention of this training session today is to go through kind of step-by-step of how to navigate Bluebeam and be able to use some of its most common functions that we use in regards to project management, in regards to estimating, in regards to accounting or any other kind of document management. Bluebeam is a very vast world of tools, and we just want to kind of go through and see. The intention of this is to look through and see how can we increase our productivity as a team, how do we use the capabilities of it to allow us to be more efficient. My intention for this call and this training is that if anybody that's watching this is for everybody to learn something from it, because I've been working with Bluebeam for about 3 years, and I've watched about every tutorial that there is, and most of the stuff that we do in Bluebeam, we're only using maybe 20 or 30% of its capacity because it's so immense of all the things that it does. So the intention here is just for everybody to learn some new tools, to become more efficient, make our jobs a lot easier for what we're doing, and learn some shortcuts. Okay. This is a PowerPoint presentation. I will share this with everybody, so if there's any important times where you have notes or any questions, feel free to ask the questions, but we're going to go through kind of step by step and just orientate through the project.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to start off with, when you open up Bluebeam, you're going to get a screen like what you see here. So Bluebeam we use to view documents and mark up PDF documents. They could be any type of it. They could be a PDF document of plans, drawings, contract, specs, RFIs. Any PDF that you want to look at, you'll open up in Bluebeam, and it'll traditionally open up in this screen. So let's point out, we're going to look at the interface. Let's just kind of navigate around and look at the interface and how Bluebeam works with all this. As you can see, it seems a little bit busy with all the toolbars and icons everywhere around. We're going to go through that, take a look and see what all those things do. So what we're going to take a look now is the main workspace. The main workspace is the space in the center. So Bluebeam is designed their workspace to be in the center. So all the tools and everything else is going to go around that perimeter, and in the middle will be your main workspace. For this example, I have 2 documents open. So if you want to open multiple documents, in this case, you can see I have a fully executed contract for Central Elementary School. And if you look up, you'll see that there's one tab for that. And then there's another tab for the Central Elementary School drawings. Okay, can everybody see that? That there's a tab there and a tab there, and that's how you can navigate your PDFs. If you want your PDFs to open up in a different window, that's possible, and you would change that in your preferences, and we can talk about that offline. The next component is you have your main workspace is the command bar. Once you come, the command bar is the very top part of Bluebeam. Now the command bar has 3 sections to it. So let's zoom in here. Your command bar has the command and menu bars and tabs. So let's jump into the 3 sections. The command bar is similar to like a ribbon in Excel. If you're familiar with Excel, there's a ribbon and it has a whole set of tools. Your command bar carries all the tools that we're able to use through tools to do Bluebeam. On the far right hand side, you're going to see views, settings, and menus. Over on that's the side where if you want to change your view to have it be continuous or have it to look a certain way, you'd make those changes over here on this side. On the far left-hand side, there's an orange tab. This is the panels menu. The tabs panel menu. And we're going to talk about that during one of our later points. We're going to talk about how tabs show up in regards to panels. And then the center section is your commands bar and menu commands. So this is where file, edit, view, documents. That's the main section where you're going to be grabbing a lot of your tools. So the next piece is toolbars. Toolbars go not just above the workspace, but they also go on the right-hand side of the workspace. So everything that's lit up in red right there is your toolbars. Now you can turn your toolbars on and off depending on which tools you like to use. So if you right-click on a toolbar, it'll bring you up a menu with all these different toolbars from advanced. These are in alphabetical order. Advanced tech, alignment, appearance. You want digital signatures, document management, edgement, file. You can customize every single thing here on PlanGrid. On Bluebeam. You can customize every tool and create your own toolbars if you know the tools that you like to use. And we're going to cover some of those tools that are most frequently used. So let's talk about tools. Underneath each one of the tabs, underneath File, Edit, View, Document that we saw in the command bar, these are the most common tools that get used. And this slide will be made available if anybody wants to get a visual on it or print it out. You can look at it and see which tools. What I'm going to talk to you about now is the tools that are the most productive to increase your productivity. And that is a list here of these tools. So you have the common tools that are used. There's some specialty tools in there, like I said, I haven't used very much. And then this is a distilled down the most productive tools. And we're going to dive into what these are. So one of the most productive tools is using underneath File is to export. You can take a PDF document and you can export it into Excel or into Word. So if there's any document in PDF, like let's say it has a table on it, and it looks like an Excel sheet, you can convert that into an Excel sheet. Allison and I have done that with pricing from FBM. FBM sent us over a PDF. It had all the pricing on there. We converted it into an Excel. It converted over, and we could then use it to modify pricing and create calculations. The next tool underneath the edit is the Format Painter and the search. For Format Painter, if you want to have your markups when you're marking something up on the drawing and you want it to look and feel the same, you're going to use the Format Painter to click on other additional markups. So that saves you from clicking through and trying to make something bold or red or italic or line width or opacity. The search function, I use the search function through lots of different documents. So example would be on contracts. If the document has searchable text, I can use it to go through contracts to look for keywords such as scope, inclusions, exclusions, dollar amounts. If there's something in particular like dumpsters or access panels, I can type that word in and it'll search within inside the document. So if you've used Excel, this would be hitting Control F. Hitting Control F in Bluebeam does the exact same thing. It brings up your search window and you can search. You can also search specs. If you're inside of specs, you can hit your keyword search for ASTMs and it'll find ASTMs, or if you're doing submittals or submittal documents, you'll be able to look up keywords such as ASTM, and you can then, whatever it finds in its search, you can then highlight or underline the words that it finds. So it allows you to go through your document very quickly and look for the key information, especially when you have large documents like specs, which could be a 1,000-page document, or drawings, which can be 100 pages. all those different items are there.
Hey, Dickie,
Yes.
in order for Format Painter to be active, there's got to be a markup within the document. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Okay, that's why I wasn't.
Yeah, so if you have a markup on there, you could say, oh, I have a markup of, let's say, a red square, and then you put another markup of a blue square, and you went, oh, I want the red square to become a blue square. You could just click Format Painter, grab the blue square, and turn the red square into a blue square, so that you have the same kind of color pattern on the same look and feel. Good question. Okay, next underneath documents, when we're doing document reviews, like doing contracts or anything like that, you'll use the signature button, and you can create your own digital signature inside of Bluebeam. This is where we're signing contracts, signing subcontracts, signing purchase orders, anything you want to do here. You can create your own digital signature and create your own digital signature field so that you can sign documents, save it. Now, when you sign a document, it locks it. Because whatever the document, the markups that you have, once you've signed it, it seals it so that no one can edit it or make any modifications to it once you've signed it. The other feature is that if I'm working with multiple pages, I use the pages buttons, use it to insert or extract pages. Example would be if I have an RFI and there's 10 sheets in the RFI and I want 2 of those sheets to get pulled out. Or if I'm in estimating and I'm doing takeoff, I can go through all my sheets, my architectural sheets, and let's say I just want the floor plan and I just want the reflected ceiling plan. I can keep the whole document set and I can select those items and just hit extract, and it will pull it out into a separate file. It'll copy and move those 2 documents out into a separate file, which I can save. This is great for when I'm downloading stuff from an FTP site from a general contractor. I want to download all of the drawings, and when I get all those drawings, I just need a couple sheets from it. I will extract the pages that I need from it, and leaving the original set of drawings intact. Another great feature about Bluebeam Extreme is using the comparison and overlay feature in drawings and contracts. So the compare function, when you click on that, if you had 2 documents, let's say 2 contracts, or let's say you made a contract, you sent it over to them, and then they sent something back and they made revisions to it, you could compare them side by side. So if you hit the compare, it can compare side by side. Overlay puts one on top of the other. And when it puts one on top of the other, it can look, if let's say you're looking at a document like a contract, Bluebeam is so smart that it will overlay and it will find everything that's not the same, and it can produce a report for you saying on page 7, this line got changed. On line 8 or page 8, this line got changed and went from omitted to included. So if you're comparing documents like text documents, the compare feature is there, and we'll go deeper into that. The drawings feature, I usually use overlay when I compare drawings. Now, because the overlay feature is so elaborate, Bluebeam also allows you that if you had a drawing and you got an RFI, and let's say the RFI just had a snapshot of an area, Bluebeam allows you to take that snapshot and overlay with a part of a drawing, and you can set your alignment points so that it overlays perfectly so that you can see what the difference between the 2. And when it does that, it creates another document, another PDF with your comparisons. So if you have document A, document B, and you said I want to compare or overlay, when you do your compare and overlay, it creates a third document with your comparisons so that you can see the difference between the 2, and you could save it if you wanted it to send to somebody. Okay, the 4th tool in the document set is OCR. and we're going to watch a video later on OCR. OCR stands for optical character recognition. This is the tool that makes documents searchable. So if you have a document like a contract that got scanned in, if you hit OCR, it converts it into text and allows it to be searchable. So we want to utilize the power of the team that when I'm going into a document, if I OCR and I save it, it's OCR'd for everybody on our team in the folder so that everybody can be OCRing their documents so that it's searchable, which allows all of us to get in and search for the information that we need to get to.
Right.
Okay, the next bar, which is called the markup bar, this is where you're going to want to create a majority of your tools. Here's the tools that I use consistently. I use the pen, such as the highlighter. I just go through and I highlight text. Lines, I use arrows. In regards to shapes, I usually use the rectangle, polygon, cloud, and cloud plus tools. And there's also a stamp tool. So if someone goes through and wants to approve in a contract, you can put a stamp, say approved. There's a stamp function that if we wanted to use it stamped, it's a digital stamp. A digital stamp can also act like a signature and lock your document so that nobody else, like if it was a confidential document, it could allow it so that no one could make markups on it if you wanted to. Okay, for estimating on the measuring side, I use the measuring tool to provide dimensions. I use the calibrate tool to set scale. I use the length to use a lineal foot takeoff. And then I use the poly length or perimeter to measure around the perimeter of windows or walls or of a floor plan. The area tool is used for square foot takeoff. I use this for exterior elevations or ceilings. And then there's another tool for count. You use the count. I use it for windows, doors, posts, items that I want to count how many quantities of. Okay, so the next area we want to take a look is the navigational bar. The navigational bar is at the very bottom part of Bluebeam. Down here at the bottom. So let's take a look and see what there is. There's 3 sections to your navigation bar. There's a left, center, and right. The left section has a set of buttons. Those buttons on the left-hand side allow you to do a window split. And I'll show you an example of that later in the presentation. So you can split your windows up from top to bottom, left to right, if you want to look at multiple pages or multiple, you want to bring that document and look at multiple different parts of the pages at the same time. The center of the left panel is a single page mode or continuous scroll mode. One of the challenges that people, when they begin to use Bluebeam, is that if you're looking at a drawing, Bluebeam reads that it says, oh, this is a drawing, and it will do single page mode. And if it's looking at a contract or a text document, it will go into continuous scroll mode. So what's the difference between the two? The difference is how your mouse wheel works. If you are in single page mode, when you use your mouse wheel to scroll, it will zoom in. If you're looking at a drawing and you use your mouse wheel, it'll zoom in and zoom out. If you're looking at, let's say, a contract, when you use your mouse wheel, it will scroll up and down. It will not zoom in and out. It will scroll up and down. And you can click which one that is down in the left panel. The other piece to the left panel is how you want your document to be viewed. So when you're looking at a document, you can look at it as you want it to fill the whole page, or do you want it to fill the width of the page? So usually on drawings, I fit one full page so I can see the whole entire drawing. And then when I'm looking at a contract, I will hit fit to width so it fills out the whole page and I can read and blow up the text that way. Still in the navigation bar, now let's talk about the center section. Center section, you have mouse buttons. This is how your mouse will interface with the document. You have pan, so it can become a hand, so you can move it around like you would a piece of paper. Select, if you want to select markups or text. There's a zoom button. You can click zoom, highlight the area you want, and it will zoom into that size. And then there's a select text. You can press select text if you want to highlight certain words. You can do spell check and highlight those words, add bubbles or add markups to them using the select text tool. The window beside it is the zoom percentage. So whatever you're zoomed in, it will tell you what that is. That ties into one of the other pieces on the navigational bar called views, which is over on the right-hand side. If you're looking at a document, you're zoomed in on a particular area. You zoom out and jump to another area and you zoom in. If you hang out in that view for longer than 3 seconds, you can toggle between your views. So you don't have to zoom in and zoom out. You just toggle from your last view and it will jump back to what the last thing you were looking at.
Can you say that again, Dickie?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about it in the next section. I'll show you an example. I'm just saying that whatever you're zoomed into, like in this case, I'm zoomed in at 73.48%.
Right.
If I zoom to a different part of the page and I hang out there and I'm zoomed in at, let's say, 48%, if I want to jump back to that other area where I was zoomed at 73.4, I can change my views, which is over on the right-hand side. This just tells you the percentage that you're viewing.
Correct.
Okay. So the center section here lets you turn pages. So you can jump to the first page or just turn to a previous page. This tells you your current page that you're on. Bluebeam, as part of its navigational window, shows you that you're on page 1 of 15. So we'll count how many documents are in there and always have that visually displayed. If you have page labels, it will also give you the page label inside of your navigation window. Example would be with drawings. If you're on sheet A1.01, in this window here, it will say A01.1, page 1 of 15. And then if you want to turn to the next page or go to the last page, that's how you'd navigate around. These are the two buttons that we were talking about earlier, that if you were zoomed in a way, you can change from your previous view to next view. So if you're zoomed in at looking at a certain document, let's say you're looking at a certain detail, and then you zoom in and look over at a different detail, you can toggle between looking at what you last looked at and what you looked at here by changing your views.
View, toolbars, customize on the bottom. And then you gotta
Okay.
find it and then move it over.
Now, so I'm here. So some of these tools on this presentation, I have turned 95% of all the tools on. If you're Bluebeam set, you may not have some of these tools turned on, but we can go into that later in regards to how to turn those things on. But this is where you would find it. It would be in your navigational bar, and that's where you would want to turn the tool on. Okay, the next part of the navigation bar is in the far right-hand side. You should see an icon of a person, a bulb, and a lock, and a page with a plus. The person icon is your profiles. Profiles are used that if you use Bluebeam a certain way, let's say you're reviewing text documents, specs, submittals, contracts, and you like certain tools and you like certain views, you can save that as a profile. And then if you were to do estimating or looking at drawings, you could change your profile so that it brings up a different set of tools, so it has a different look and feel and acts differently. So you can change that by creating your own profiles So here's some examples of profiles that I have. So I have an advanced profile, I have a construction plan review, I have construction, I have a contract review, I have design review, drawing creator, I have a legal view, office. By default, PlanGrid will give you some of these views in regards to oil and gas, punch, simple, structural steel, tablet mode, takeoff. If I click on any other one of those profiles, Bluebeam will alter and change its tools, its tool chest, to whatever I have preset in here. Next is the dimmer. I call it a dimmer switch, but this is your dimmer tool. That if you're marking up a set of drawings, the background image, when you press dimmer, will dim the image in the background and allow your markups to be more pronounced in the front. Chelsea and I were using this the other day when we were doing a count, and we're like, I can't see these markups. You hit dimmer, and it will fade out the background, make it dimmer so that your markups stand out more. The lock tool, if you're working on a PDF and you want it to have it to be editable, you can leave it unlocked. If you want the PDF to be locked, you can press that. I don't use that tool that often because most PDFs are secure documents, but if you wanted to lock it, you can. Now there's something worth noting, which is a really great tool if you're trying to add things. If you are in a text document and you wanted to add a new page, you click down here to the right and it will add a new page inside of your PDF. So if you just want to keep adding pages, you can just keep hitting that button and add additional pages. You can put clip art on it, you can type on it. You can think of it as just taking one of their PDF documents and adding a couple pages in to make your notes. You would do that there. Okay, so that's the navigation bar.
You want to add some stuff I just added? Yes, I do, but I didn't know.
So let's jump now into status bar. The status bar, some of you may or may not have your status bar turned on, but the status bar is the very, very bottom bar.
Left.
So if you can see it down at the bottom, it looks like it says snap to and content and markup down at the bottom. We're going to zoom in on it. On the left part of the status bar, you're going to see a status notification area. In this case, it's saying ready. If I'm in the middle of something, taking something off, it may say unsaved, or I might be in the middle of searching and it will say done. So this is where you would look to get some notifications about your document to see if it's ready to receive stuff, if it's in the middle of processing something. The rest of the toolbar, you're going to see snap to and all these lines. Each one of the red sections has its own section, and let's dive into what those sections are. So this is your status notification. Then there is a snap to. If you press the grid, content, or markup, when you're doing a markup, it's going to say, do you want to snap to the grid? So Bluebeam overlays a grid system on top of your PDF document. So if you're worried about making straight lines, if you're trying to do something, you can hit snap to grid and it will allow your lines to be straight. If you want to align to content, so if you're dealing with drawings and you want to just click on a wall, Bluebeam will allow it to read the content in the back. It'll find the line and it will automatically move you to that line, and you can snap to it and follow the wall very easily without having to pinpoint and concentrate. It will automatically point, it'll go from one side to the other side and point those out for you. So it's a speedier way to draw things by clicking to content. If you're marking up a drawing and you want your markups to be kind of the same level or let's say you're doing a text bubble and another text bubble, and you want them to be kind of the height on the document, you can click Snap to Markup. You can turn all three of these on at the same time, or any multitude of them. And it just allows you, when you're in the markup tool, or the Snap to Markup, it allows you, it's looking for markups so that you can take your markup and align with other markups, and it'll give you guidelines. There's a button for Show Grid, so if you hit the Show Grid, it will show you all the dots. It'll put a grid system over the top, so it'll allow you to see where those are at, so that if you wanted to snap to grid, you can see where those lines are. If you're doing markup, so imagine if you're marking up a set of drawings and you wanted to put a box on your drawing. Traditionally, you would have to click the box, markup, go on there, then go back, click your box, and then click the sheet, go back, click box, click your sheet, click box, click sheet. If you click reuse, it saves you the step from going back and clicking the tool. So if you're, let's say, counting windows, or you're going to use the same markup over and over again, you can click reuse, and when you click it, you can continue to go through your drawing. Let's say you were going to count corner bead, or how many posts were on a drawing. You could click reuse whatever tool you're using, and it'll keep it selected until you turn it off. Okay, one of the other great features is sync. What sync does is, if you have two documents open at the same time, in this example, let's say you had a floor plan. Let's say you split your view, and you had a floor plan and you had a reflected ceiling plan. If you click sync, it will allow you to move both documents at the same time. So it will synchronize your movement. So example, if I'm looking at a floor plan and I want to see the reflected ceiling plan, but I zoom to room 102, it will zoom to 102 on your reflected ceiling plan at the same time. If you're looking at a contract document, and side by side, as I scroll on one side, it will scroll on the other side, so that they both move up at the same time, so I can look at the document side by side when I scroll. You have two choices, two options in this little white arrow drop down. You can synchronize just the document, or you could just synchronize the page. So as you're moving on the page, it will only do the page. Or you can synchronize your document, meaning if you have a 10-page document in one window and you have a 12-page document in the other window, if you hit synchronize document, when you jump to page 9 on document A, it'll jump to page 9 on document B. If you're in page sync, when you're on page 9 and page 9 the other, when you scroll and zoom in and zoom out, it will do the same on page 9 of A and page 9 of B. Okay, the next window, or the next part of the status bar, is the document size. Whenever I'm looking at a document, because we're looking at it on a digital screen, it's hard to get a concept of how big this page actually is. Bluebeam reads the page size, and in this case, it says this page is at 8.5 by 11. Usually all your text documents are 8.5 by 11, and then your drawings are 42 by 30 inches. So this is a good indicator to let me know how big this, if I was to hit print, what its original size should be. And then in the far right-hand side is your axis notification. Axis notification tells you where your mouse is hovering. If your mouse is hovering at grid line, or sorry, at pixel point -2.46, and the y-axis is 0.13. So wherever you move your mouse, it changes its accent point to map where your mouse is at by pixel. Okay, so that was just the navigational pane and the navigational bar and the status bar. Now let's jump into panels. So if you're looking at the screen, you'll see in the background, we covered the command bar, the toolbar sets, the navigational bar, the status bar. Bluebeam has this feature that has panels. Panels allow you to open up side windows to access additional information that interacts with your main workspace. So there's 3 panels. You should be indicated by the blue dots. There's a left panel, a right panel, and a bottom markup panel. So if you hear Bluebeam calls that the bottom panel, you may hear me call it the markup panel, because all markup lists live down in this panel. So let's take a look. Well, how do I open these up? You can open them up 2 ways. One is you just click it and it will snap open, or you can grab and pull it. Wherever you grab and pull it, depending on how far you grab and pull it, once you set it to however wide you want that, you can click the button again and it will collapse down. So it will expand and collapse if you click. If you grab and pull, you can set it, you can change the dimension of the panel window. So let's take a look at the left panel. In the left panel, you click and grab or pull it open, and you're going to see a window, a new information, a whole list of information that comes in here. In this panel, there are tabs. For this demonstration, I have turned all the tabs on in the left pane. All these tabs are interchangeable and can be modified and customized depending on your preference.
On a conference call.
So if you have a tab, if you want to hide certain tabs or turn certain tabs on, you do that by pressing the orange triangle up there, and it will give you a list of your tabs that you can turn on and off. So let's take a look further into what are these tabs. So I'm only going to cover these first 4 tabs on this presentation. So the tab, you have a recent tab, you have a bookmarks tab, you have a pages tab, or sometimes called the thumbnail view tab, and you have tool chest. These other tabs, which is links and spaces, these are some advanced features that you can use that we can be discussed at another point in time during a presentation. From link tabs to sets to your signatures. If you have a document that has lots of pages of signatures, you click this tab, it will tell you every page that has a signature, which ones have been signed and which ones haven't. Spaces, JavaScript, layers, and if you're doing 3D modeling. Bluebeam has a feature called there's a CAD module that allows you to do modeling inside of Bluebeam. So let's take a look at Recents tab. Traditionally, when you open it up, Recent tabs pops up. Recent tabs, whatever PDFs you've been looking at, it will create a list for you of all the PDFs that you've recently looked at. If there's a PDF that you look at over and over again, instead of going to the job folder, so in this case, I'm looking at Central Elementary Drawings. Central Elementary Drawings in the background, or sorry, that document in the main workspace. If I want to save that, instead of me going through our job folder pathway of DMS, projects, Central Elementary, project management, plans, instead of making that many clicks to get to this drawing, if I've opened up the drawing before, I can right click on a PDF over here, and in the recents panel, if you right click on the name that's in white, it'll ask if you want to pin it. If you pin it, it will move up to the top, an additional bar, and it will save you. Every time you open up Bluebeam, you can automatically click instead of trying to search for the document. Once you've already opened it up, it will remember the file path, and you can just open it up your documents here. So you can create it like another folder system here of shortcuts to have you jump to these pages. There is also a hyperlink feature. If you're working with, let's say, RFIs and drawings, you can hyperlink your RFIs to a set of drawings so that that occurs as an attachment in the drawing, which will allow other team members, when they're looking at the drawing, they don't have to go search for where the RFI is in the folder. They can click it and it would jump on here. Okay, the next big tab is bookmarks. Now, bookmarks I use bookmarks religiously, and project managers and estimators, and especially for let's say Kim, who's going to be maybe downloading drawing stuff, this bookmarks panel is, you're going to be using this heavily to organize and understand your drawings. Now there's two parts to this bookmarks. You see on the left-hand side, there's a thing called, it says structure. There's a top window that says structure, and below it, it says bookmarks. These structures, which we're going to talk a little bit later, but just give you an overview, is structures is, you could think of it as like a file name protocol. This is a bookmark protocol. So structures allows you to create a structure for the way you want your bookmarks to go. So these create headers and sub-bookmarks if you're using a large document, let's say specs or a contract or drawings. Structures button is what you would use to create kind of the standard templates of standardizing your bookmarks so that it occurs the same on each one of these documents. Now, let's talk about, there's documents and there's drawings. Bookmarks do the same thing, just your structure template is different for documents than for drawings. So you see in this image that my structure for drawings has it has a cover sheet, general information, civil, landscape, architect, structural, mechanical, and then beneath that you could see where I have in this case, landscaping, and all the sub bookmarks that are underneath the header landscaping. Your structures will can be changed from documents to drawings. So this is what it looks like in the structures pane. You can also create your own structures. So I created a structure for when I review contracts, so that I'm always looking for the table of contents, the scope, payment schedule, insurance, exhibits A, B, C, schedule, billing information. So when I look through, I can create bookmarks, which allows me and other team members, when we go into a contract, to just open up the bookmarks page or a bookmarks panel and click to that page. So if a contract is 1,000 pages long, I don't want to look at all 1,000 pages. I can click and jump to the sections that I need to jump to by clicking bookmarks.
And that shares across all users.
That shares across all users, yep. And so you can see that the structure for documents, I have it listed in blue here. I have a structure for contracts, and then I have a structure for construction plans. Okay, now the bottom part of this is where your bookmarks will actually get populated. So if we're looking at the tool, the buttons, here's a brief description of what all the buttons do. So you can expand and collapse all your bookmarks. You can save the collapse states. You can create new bookmarks. And So what I want to point to is that in creating new bookmarks, Bluebeam has a technology that goes through and reads drawings and will find words for you to create bookmarks. That technology they refer to as AutoMark. Okay, you can manually add bookmarks, you can delete bookmarks, you can create actions off bookmarks, you can change its property. You can also audit bookmarks and export your bookmarks. So if you've bookmarked a certain document, you can export that those bookmarks as a PDF or a CSV file, and other people can import those bookmarks into their drawings. Okay.
So you have to share that link to them.
Yeah, you could share the link to that. So bookmarks aren't just in this example, you could see in the bookmarks that in this image, I want you to know that you can create bookmark headers. You can create sub bookmarks. Like if you look at landscape, I've created bookmarks underneath a header. You can also change the color of the bookmark. So if you see AA 5.1, you can change its color, and you can also change its actions. So meaning that when you click this bookmark, you can have it zoom into an exact certain part of a page. You can have it open up a hyperlink. You can have it do lots of different actions. Aside from turning you just to that page, it can do another subset of actions.
Every week.
I usually use this for when I'm reviewing schedules. Schedules can be hundreds of pages long. I want to look at our scope. I will go through and bookmark a schedule, and I'll create an action to zoom in just, instead of just to the page, I want it to zoom into a certain section of the page so that our team can look at the information instead of zooming in and out. So I can save our team a step if I zoom into the information, create a bookmark, and say, hey, action, when this bookmark, when you open up this bookmark, I want you to stay zoomed into this particular spot. So that when anybody else clicks that bookmark, it opens up exactly to that zoomed in view. Okay, next is page labels. In your page, in your thumbnail tab here, you'll see it by the icon, the 4 pages there. When you open up a set of drawings, sometimes the pages will be labeled. The pages will be labeled sometimes as a number, and sometimes they will be labeled with the document, the page label document. So let's zoom in to see what that is. As you zoom in here underneath your thumb tabs, you'll see, sorry, your thumbnail view. You can change the size of how big you want your thumbnails. You can make them smaller or make them bigger so that you can see 4 in a window or 1 in a window. You can adapt the size of whatever's going to be the right fit for you. Down at the bottom part of your thumbnail view, that is the page label. And these are the buttons that you use to manage your page labels. You can reduce the size, increase the size, you can show and hide page labels, you can create new page labels, and then there's the sprocket option button. We're going to go deeper into bookmarks and page labels of actually how to bookmark and page label stuff at the end of this presentation. This is just to get you familiar with what these tools are. Okay, the next tab is the tool chest. The tool chest, which is over in the left-hand panel, this is where, if you're using the tool chest, it allows you to store different markups and different tools, let's say different counting tools or stamps that you regularly use. So you have your tool bars where you grab your tools. Your tool chest is where you can access another level of tools and you can store them. So let's just zoom in on just this particular section. So underneath the tool chest tab, the top section is going to be My Tools. The next one down will be recent tools. So every time you use a tool, that's where recent tools will go, and your tools is your set. And then the other one that I traditionally use is sequence and actions. So as we look here under my tools, you'll see that there's the tool, but it has a number beside it. That number beside it is a shortcut key that can allow you, if you always use the same tools, the same 8 set of tools, you could just hit the number 1 when you're doing markup, and it will bring up that markup tool. So if you're highlighting a document, let's say a contract, and you always use yellow for information and blue for review and green for money, you could program your tools so that you could always say, well, I want tool number 1, I want tool number 2, or tool number 3, and you just press 1, 2, or 3, and it will select that markup for you when you're marking up. So it saves you from trying to find and click it. You can just click 1, 2, or 3. It's a shortcut key. You can also drag recent tools up into your tools, and it will assign it a shortcut number. And then down at the bottom, if you look and see your sequence and actions, if you're using a tool, let's say you're going to count windows, how many windows are on the exterior? You can use any one of these tools. So you can use it will count in sequence, meaning I press it once, it says, oh, there's 1 window. I move over to another spot and I press it again, it'll go 2, 3, 4, and keep counting up. And you can reset your sequence at any point in time. So that way, if you're doing large takeoffs in regards to counting hundreds of windows, that may take you 15, 20 minutes. But during that 15, 20 minutes, someone may talk to you, you might get a phone call, distraction, an email notification, and you might lose your count. This sequence tool avoids that. So you can press it and count it, and it stays there and will add up later into your markup list. So those are the common tools that we use inside of Tool Chest, common functions of the tool chest. Let's jump into the right side panel. The right side panel, if you pull, click, or drag it open, it's going to give you a different set of tabs. Again, you can turn tabs off and on by going up to the orange triangle. And you're going to see a different set of tabs up here. So the sprocket or properties tab, this allows you to change the property of your markup. So whatever markup you have selected, you can change the formatting of it. You can change it from blue to green to orange, to make it a dash line, to make it hashed. This is where you would change your formatting of a markup. And then once you get that markup set up, you can save that as a default tool, and it'll add to your tool chest. And you can also grab your format painter if you like the way this looks, and you can format all the markups to look the way that you have this set up. The next tab over is the search section. Bluebeam allows you not just to search like Control F and look for text. It can also look for visual symbols. So if you have a delta symbol on a set of drawings, you can highlight that symbol and say, look for this symbol everywhere, and it will go through all your documents and find everywhere that symbol occurs. Electricians traditionally use this a lot when they're looking for outlets. They want to say how many outlets. It will go through and highlight all the outlets, the symbol for the outlets on their set of drawings. Plumbers use it to find certain symbols. We could use it to find up ceiling heights. You could find your center callout tool, and it will highlight that and find it on every set of document that you need to do, as long as the document is OCR. This also not just allows you to search the document that you're in. You could say, I just want to search this page, or you could say, I want to search a folder, and it will search for every document inside of a folder. So if you were, let's say, looking at Central Elementary School, you say, I want to find access panels on this drawing and inside of all the documents that have the word access panels. It will find it inside of all the folders. The measurement tab. When you click the measurement tab, this is like the measurements properties. It allows you to set what type of measurement, whether you want to do lineal foot or square foot or diameter or volume. And it allows you to set the scale. This is where you're going to set your scale. Now, as you measure something, if you want to change the color or the thickness of it, you do that in the Properties tab. Over here, you're just setting which type of measuring tool you want to use and what's its scale. There's a tab called Studio. This is used for logging into collaborative tools. Studio has 3 components to it. It has a home section, a sessions, and a projects. This allows you to take your document that you're using, and I bring all this up because more and more general contractors are using this tool. They're putting their documents inside a Bluebeam, and this is used as like a cloud storage. They go into Studio, they upload their drawings in there, and they share that, and they create either sessions or projects and allow these PDFs to be shared among other trade partners or their field to look at the same document that they're looking at. Sessions allows everybody to collaborate. I think 500 people can collaborate at the same time on the same PDF under Sessions. Project is used just as a cloud storage to allow other people to access that set of drawings, that PDF. And the last tab is Forms. If you have a PDF, let's say a RFI template or a time card template, you can create form fields that live on top of the document so that when anybody types, it stays within the boundary of the PDF, within inside of a form field, so that when they type, it doesn't continue to go to the stage. The form functions can be pretty extensive, and there's a way so that it automatically creates forms. So if you're using forms, this is the tab that you would use to edit the form fields and create forms. Okay, so that's the right side panel. Let's now jump down into the bottom markup panel. Again, this is just an overview to let you know what this does. Down at the bottom, if you click that open, if you have markups on a drawing, this is where it's going to list that markup. So you'll see the markup bottom panel. Let's zoom into that. As you look at it, there's a couple sections to your markup list, or markup panel. The first is your actual markup list, which I have in the red square here. This acts similar to Excel. It's going to give you headers, columns, and rows. And you'll see all the different columns from subject to page to lock to status. All those columns are customizable depending on what you want to see in regards to your markup. And we'll go over what markup list does, I think, more extensively later. This button up here allows you to expand and collapse your markups. So if you have 1,000 markups here, and certain markups are red, and certain ones are green, and certain ones are blue, you can expand and it'll tell you how many are red, how many are blue, and how many are green. If you're on pages, it'll tell you how many pages. You can expand and collapse based upon what you have selected. These buttons allow you to navigate. If you clicked on a certain markup, it allows you to go to the next markup or the previous markup. You can filter your markups. You can say, I only want to see my red markups, and you filter it. It will hide all the other markups and just allow you to see the red markups. You can also clear your filters. Like if you have a filter set and you want to just redo, you can clear all your filters. And if this button allows you to hide all. So if you're looking at a contract and I went through and I marked everything up, but you want to send this over to somebody and you want this to look fresh and clean, like without any markups, you hit this button and it will hide all the markups. So when it gets sent, it looks clean and clear, like it hasn't been touched. You can also search your markups. If there's certain comments or notes or certain types, you can hit search and it will find markups. If you have thousands of markups, it allows you to search for which particular markup you want. This is your column management section. This is where you add columns, hide columns, decide what you want those columns to do. The next section is your status management. So anytime you create a markup, you can also create a status for that markup, which means like open, pending, under review. You can create that, create check marks. You can give it color coding, like red light means stop, green light means go, yellow means it's in review. You can also take all your markups. So this works similar to, like I said, this takes your markups list here, and it can export it out into an Excel sheet. So if you're working with a document, let's say you're counting how many windows, or if you're doing lineal foot takeoff, you can take off a project, meaning highlight somewhere that will give you a measurement of how many lineal feet of wall there is, and you can export that into Excel if you wanted to send that particular takeoff there. So this does takeoff as well as can be exported out to give you a calculation sheet that you can send to somebody. If you're familiar with ever using OST and QuickBid, this is the function of OST called worksheet. Bluebeam can do everything that OST does, and it does the worksheet calculation. You can also create a summary of your list, which can be exported out as, again, a CSV file or a PDF. Okay, this is an example of what your split button does. So if you're looking at the image on screen, you'll see I took a document, which is the Central Elementary drawings, and it's got markups on it. What I did was I split the screen so that I could jump to another page and look at 2 pages at the same time. You can split the screen into, I think, 32 subsections. 16 or 32 subsections. There is another part of the interface that's called flags, which is over on your right. You would have to click the red little flag tab next to the blue X there, and it opens up a flags panel. The flags panel, if you created a bookmark, let's say you bookmarked a set of drawings with all its pages so you could quickly give you a button to turn to all the pages. If you go to the flags pane, it allows you to put a little sticky tab next to certain set of drawings that you want to reference over and over again. So I will use the flags pane. This is an advanced feature. It's not commonly used because when you export your PDF, your Bluebeam PDF into a PDF file for somebody else to use, and let's say another company that's not using Bluebeam, they're using PDF viewer or something like that, flags will not appear in their document. Bookmarks will, though. Whatever we bookmark in Bluebeam will be bookmarked in a PDF viewer, but flags will not transfer over into another PDF viewer. Okay, also worth noting is that when you're inside of a document, if you start marking it up or do things that make corrections to it, you're going to see an asterisk symbol up here. If you see it behind the 8, 16, 17, you'll see this asterisk. That means this document has unsaved changes. If you go to close it out, it'll say, do you want to save changes? So that's it always indicates you've made changes to this document with an asterisk. Okay, so that covers our general overview of the interface. Were there any questions about just kind of everything that we've covered so far?
Dickie,
I know it was a lot. Yeah.
On the right-hand side, where you were just going over, I only have 3 of the 5 icons. Should they be there, or is it because of my settings I have to adjust it like you did on the left?
So are you're saying the right panel, the right side panel?
Yes,
this
right panel, correct. Yes, I only have 3 of those.
And you're saying that in the right panel you only have 3 tabs.
Yep.
Correct. Yeah, I'm saying that if you wanted to turn more tabs on, you can. For this demonstration, I have made all tabs visible so that you guys could just get familiar with what the icons look like. Some of these tabs you won't use, and where you change those tabs at is right here. You go to the orange triangle, and that's where it'll allow you to turn tabs. So you can say, I want to see this tab. Wait, I never use the 3D modeling tree because we don't do modeling here. So I turn that tab off so it doesn't take up space on my tabs. So you can customize which tabs you want to see. In this demonstration, I have them all turned on. So there's not any right ones or wrong ones.
Chelsea's showing me right now how to do it.
Okay.
Okay.
Good question. Thank you. Any other questions about anything we've covered about the panels, navigation, command bar, status bar, navigation bar?
So Dickie, when you want to OCR a document or a plan or a spec to hunt in it, how long does that take? And do you just have certain ones that you OCR?
That's a great question. That's what we're about to cover next. We're going to jump into how to OCR documents. So if I can pause on that, that's a great question.
Great.
Oh, we want to be in Office?
I'll use Office, so it says over view. I use Crystal Media's construction.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, actually, you did say that.
Well, I mean, it's kind of what you.
It's kind of what you customize.
Yeah.
So I've customized my Office to look.
The way that what you use those.
So it sounds like you guys are talking about profiles. All tools.
We're talking about profiles.
Yeah. So in profiles, all tools are available to you. Just Bluebeam turns. It just hides some of those. It has them turned off. You can still use them. You just have to go and turn them on when you're in a certain profile. So example, if you're using Office profile, you want to use, let's say, proofreading, stamps, highlighting text. You want those tools because you're not going to be doing measuring. You're not measuring anything, so you wouldn't want your measurement tools on. If you go into...
So Chris told us,
yeah, go ahead.
Chris told us to use Brooke and I to use construction, but more, so it's probably good for me to like use Office because there's like different selections. Would you agree with that?
Again, you can, if you're, Bluebeam works the same for every single profile. It's just a matter of which tools you want to have visual and available to you when you log into it. So when you click construction, it opened up, let's say, 80% of the tools on the screen. Whereas where you go into Office, it might only open up 50% of the tools. So you can customize which tools you want.
Okay.
Okay. So if you get set in a preference, you can just set up your own preference, and then at the bottom it'll say Save Profile. You say, I like the way this looks. I want my tools to always be this way. Click that, and every time it opens up, it'll look at that. You can have it so that your right side panel is always open, or right side panel's closed. Again, you can change it at any point in time in there. It's all available to you, just if you have a preference for speed. Any other questions or comments about just orientating yourself around Bluebeam? Okay. So what we're going to do next is now we're going to talk about, we've kind of overviewed about, wow, there's so many buttons. I mean, you can see how you can drill down into a button. It has a button, it has a button, it has a button. What we want to do now is say, okay, now we've seen the overview or the map of the United States. How do I actually use these tools? The tools that we're going to focus on really three main functions today. One is how to OCR documents. Which documents do you OCR? How often do you do it? How long does it take? The other is how do you set up bookmarks, and how do you set up page labels? Bookmarks and page labels allow us to navigate drawings very quickly. Okay, so let's jump into how to OCR a document. So how do you OCR documents, and how do you OCR drawings? So I've created a video. So what is OCR? OCR is optical character recognition. It converts images into text layers. Part of this presentation, I have created YouTube videos and links, and we're going to go into some of those things. later, but right now let's just watch what this OCR video.
Their sound? Hey, Dickie, is there supposed to be sound on this video? Or no?
I don't think
He walked away.
No. All right, well, no sound.
What's that? I hear you guys talking. Sorry, what?
Is there supposed to be sound on this video?
Oh, you're not hearing it? Oh, okay. Sorry. Yes,
No.
there's supposed to be sound on the video. It must be being played through your speaker. Sorry about that. We didn't test that out. Because it's going to be playing from your laptop computer speaker.
Up here, we need to have that open then.
Oh, yeah. Maybe. We didn't join the call through the TV, though. We joined it through.
Oh, so the audio piece of the is not there?
So everyone's
Okay.
just on the phone call. Can't hear it. So
Okay.
if you wanna play it really loud through the phone.
I
can't hear it through the phone either.
Okay, here, let me try this. Let's see if you can hear this.
And even select other files to batch process.
You can hear that? Okay, let me rewind the video.
Yeah.
Now. You're pioneering.
Review Extreme's OCR, or Optical Character Recognition technology, allows you to transform scanned PDFs into text, searchable, and selectable files. Here we have a PDF of a scanned document. Because a scan is basically an image of the document, you can't select or search through the text. To make this PDF searchable, go to Document and click the OCR button. From here, you can adjust the configuration settings and the page range, and even select other files to batch process. Then click OK. Now the OCR module will analyze the PDF and add an invisible layer of text on top of the scanned image. Once the process is complete, you can then grab the selection tool, select some of the text, highlight it, and copy and paste it in Review or another application. You can also search through the text. As well as add highlights, hyperlinks, or other properties to the search results. OCR can also be performed when you first create a PDF from a scan. Go to File, Create from Scanner or Camera. Choose your scanner and go through the steps to scan your document. When the scan is finished, you'll be given the option to perform OCR. Make your adjustments and click OK. So there you have it, Review's technology for transforming scanned PDFs into searchable files. Thanks for watching, and go get 'em, Bluebeamers.
Bluebeam.
Okay. So they originally had OCR. So in that video, they talked about OCR being like if our scanner, our printer in the office there, you can set up Bluebeam that when you scan those documents, any scanned documents will automatically OCR'd and saved as a Bluebeam file that's already OCR'd if you want to set your scanner up that way. Most of the documents that project managers or estimators receive from general contractors, some of them are already OCR'd and are searchable text files. Sometimes they send us stuff that's not. So those are the documents that we would OCR. Schedules usually are not OCR'd, and I OCR schedules. I OCR contracts if they send us over scan because they're signing it. So I usually OCR schedules, documents. Specs traditionally are searchable, but if it's not, I do those. For drawings, I sometimes do drawings. I will scan a whole set of drawings if I'm looking for any kind of keywords on the set of drawings. Let's say doors or windows or certain text on the drawing. But that is a case-by-case basis because I usually use the auto mark function to grab my page labels and bookmarks, which is what we're going to lead to after this next section. I use that, but I can use OCR on that. Okay, let's watch that. OCR was set up a certain way in the beginning, and now they've made enhancements. So in Review 2016, they increased what OCR can do. So this 2-minute video explains what OCR, some of the newest features that we can use on OCR.
We've added a number of enhancements to our OCR Plus feature. OCR, or Optical Character Recognition, for Review 2016 has been updated to offer several performance enhancements that are behind the scenes, including faster processing speeds. One new feature enhancement with OCR Plus is vertical text recognition. I'm going to open up a file that has some vertical text. It's referencing a match line on this sheet, linking it to the next adjacent sheet. If I zoom in here, you can see that this is a scanned document with rasterized data. I can tell this because when I zoom way in, the text begins to get pixelated. What this means is that this text is not currently searchable for things like batch link or selectable. You can see when I try and select the text, it won't work. The solution, of course, is to run OCR. So I'm going to go up to select Documents and then OCR. And the OCR dialog box appears. There are a few additional options here not found before that reflect our under-the-hood improvements. For instance, you can now choose if you want to run OCR based on speed or accuracy. Now in Review 2016, there is a button to check that will detect vertical text, and this button will be checked on by default. I'm going to go ahead and hit Run to run the OCR process. Now that we've run OCR, if I zoom in here on my vertical text and I hit Select Text and move my cursor over this vertical text, you can see it now switches to a vertical line. I can now go in and select this text, and I'm just going to go ahead and copy and paste it to show you that this has worked. This new feature enhancement is going to make your batch link processes as well as searching text on drawings more accurate and easy. We hope the OCR Plus enhancements in Review 2016 improves the way you work.
Okay, so in 2016, they enhanced the processing speed of OCR. So if you're doing traditionally, if I do a text document and it's a 100-page document, it OCRs that document about a page every 15 seconds. So it might take me 15 minutes to OCR a 100 to 200 page document. I've done a 1,000-page document, and it did it in about an hour and a half. OCR'd every single page on that. The 1,000-page document I did was before 2016, so I think they're able to get that faster. If you are OCRing a document, whether it be a set of drawings or just a text document, your computer you will not be able to use Bluebeam for anything else while it's OCRing. The computing power of Bluebeam has to sit and work, so you will not be able to open up other PDFs. So if you're OCRing, it's a kind of time-consuming process. It produces a ton of value. Just when you do that, you're not going to be able to do other things on Bluebeam. Okay, were there any more questions about OCR and how to OCR?
Nope.
Okay. All right, so part of this PowerPoint presentation, I put slides on how we would do it if you wanted to just see like where you click. You open up a document, you select the OCR tool from the documents command bar, press that button, a window pops up, and this is where you can select all those items, decide on what type of document type, if you wanted to detect vertical text, all those items. If you only want to OCR a particular page range, meaning you have a 100-page document and you only want to OCR pages 4 through 15, you can do that. Once you OCR it, it's going to create an asterisk saying, hey, you've made changes to this, and you're going to save the document or drawing. So now let's talk about bookmarks and page labels. Every time I go into a PDF document, I open up the bookmarks tab to see if it's a multi-page document, if it's 10, 20, anything above 10 pages. I want to see, are there bookmarks there so I can navigate around faster. So let's watch this 3-minute video about, these next 7 minutes we're going to talk, it's going to show you how the bookmark and automark and how they made improvement to the way that it searches.
PDF bookmarks and page labels offer a great way for users to navigate through large document sets and easily identify which page they might be on. The automark feature allows you to create bookmarks from page labels and page labels from bookmarks. You can also define a region of a page that contains searchable text, such as a title block, to automatically generate bookmark names or page labels. These options are available in the Bookmarks tab and in the Thumbnails tab, respectively. In this particular document, we can see that there aren't any page labels. Instead, there's simply a number representing each sheet that I click on. When I jump over to the Bookmarks tab, you'll also notice that this document doesn't have any bookmarks either. So let's create some bookmarks. When I hit Create Bookmarks, I have the option to either use page labels or a page region. Since we've already identified the fact that this document doesn't have any page labels, we're simply going to use a page region and define a rectangle. First select Page Region, then select Get Rectangle, and then identify the area that you want to extract text from. So in this instance, it would probably make the most sense to use the drawing number or the sheet label in the title block, since it easily identifies which page I'm on. So as I zoom into this area, I'm simply going to select the region that I want the bookmark to be based off of. Notice that I'm giving myself a little buffer here, just so I can take into account any longer file names that might exist in this project set. Remember that the document must have searchable text in order for the automark feature to work. And as I let go of my mouse, I'm given the option to select all pages or just a range of them. Once I hit OK, it'll start generating those bookmarks. And once it's completed, I can simply click on a bookmark to navigate to the page that I want to go to. I can also use AutoMark to create page labels. You'll notice in the Thumbnails tab, I have an option to create page labels from either bookmarks or a page region. The page region functionality works the same with page labels as it does with bookmarks. So I won't cover that again, but as you can see, because we've just created bookmarks, I can use the bookmarks to create my page labels. I simply selected this option and then select OK. Now notice that each one of these pages has a label that I can use to identify which page I want to navigate to or which page I'm currently on. So that's it for the AutoMark feature, but we're hoping that this really saves you a lot of time from having to painstakingly create your bookmarks and page labels one by one. And with that in mind, we just want to say thank you to all the customers out there who gave us your feedback to make this feature possible. See you next time.
I want to review them with Chris and John.
I didn't know if it was just the one that had the two, or if the others.
They're all for the persons. I don't know why they're charging us for the third one that I now. James accepted everything. Thanks.
Now let's talk about AutoMark 2.0. We first released AutoMark in Review 11, so you might already be familiar with the basic operation. It will allow you to automatically generate page labels and/or bookmarks for all pages of a document set based on information pulled from a selected page region. We've expanded the power of this feature based on lots of feedback from our customers saying they needed to be able to pull from more than one region. You asked for it, so we did it in AutoMark 2.0. Let's see it in action. I've got a 35-page drawing set open, and I'm going to open up my Thumbnails tab where we can see it already has page labels set up, but they're not uniform. Some of them are just numbers. Some of them are sheet numbers and sheet titles, and then some of these are just sheet numbers. I want Review to be able to quickly set all of the page labels based on information that I select directly from the title block. So now, with AutoMark 2.0, we have even more options. First, I'm going to click on the icon on the top of the Thumbnails tab, right here, that says Create Page Labels. I have a choice of where I want to pull my information from an existing bookmark or from a page region that I select. I'm going to pick Page Region and then click on the Select button. So let me zoom in here so you can see what I'm doing. The first page region I want to take is the drawing number. So I'm just going to drag a rectangle over that area. Review is going to pop up, and it's going to show me a real-time preview of what my page label is going to be. I want to then add another page region. So I'm going to put a quick divider here. In this case, I'm going to put a dash, and then select Add to go in and pick more of the title block. In this case, I want to take my drawing title. So I'm going to just drag a rectangle over this region, and Review updates that real-time preview. At this point, I could continue adding more regions if I wanted to, quit, or I could even add a prefix or a suffix. In this case, I want to add today's date. So I'm going to do that. Once I'm satisfied with how my page label looks, I'm going to go ahead and say OK. And Review, when I click OK again, is going to automatically create all of those uniform page labels for me. So you'll notice it shows the sheet number, the drawing title, and my suffix, which was today's date. As an added benefit, I can even go over to my Bookmarks tab, that's to the left of the Thumbnails, and I can create bookmarks from these page labels that I just set up. I click on the Create Bookmarks icon, and I have a choice of creating those bookmarks based on, again, the page region setup, as I just did, or directly from my page labels, which is what I'm going to do here. I'm going to say OK, and that quickly, Review just created all of those bookmarks with the exact information that I pulled from the title block using AutoMark 2.0. Finally, another new feature of AutoMark 2.0 is it now supports documents with searchable and also non-searchable text. So if you have non-searchable text, which usually means the document was scanned, so you have scanned text in your title block, you can rest easy that AutoMark 2.0 will still be able to select and use that text. That's AutoMark 2.0. I hope you'll find it easy to use and a very time-saving tool to use in your workflows. Thanks a bunch.
Hey, Dickie.
Yes.
So if I understood that correctly, the file does not need to be vector or searchable. It basically will OCR on the fly to a certain degree for labels and bookmarks.
Yes. So
Okay.
yeah. So to elaborate a little more on that is that if you OCR a document, it makes it searchable text. What bookmarks and page label does is it OCRs a certain region of the page, and it takes that information that's been OCR'd and it makes it it takes the text from that area and populates a bookmark or a page label. So it does it 2 in 1. It OCRs a certain region and creates a page label. So whether you're looking at architectural sets or things like that, you can do that so you can navigate through your set of drawings quickly. Okay. Any more questions about bookmarks or page labels? Okay. So these next slides are just to show if we were to print out the slideshow, it just tells you how to how you would do it. You go up to page labels, as you saw in the video, for documents. Again, you could use structures to create page labels as well, and there's a video tutorial included in this that let you know how to use structures. We're not going to cover that today, but you just go up and you hit create bookmarks in your drawings. You go up to same thing, open it up. You can look at your structures and use your tools, create bookmarks, pops up, and you can choose either create it from page labels or from a region. You select that. Now, page labels I use bookmarks to give me a list of the pages. The thumbnail view, I like to look, and if I'm trying to link to a sheet or something like that, it will tell me the page label. I'll use the page label to help me navigate which sets. So what's the difference between a page label and a bookmark? Page label, I'm going to ask the team a question. If I delete a bookmark, does it delete the page?
No.
No.
How many think yes?
No.
How many think no? And how many don't know?
Does not.
Okay, so that's correct. If you deleting bookmarks, you can play and manage bookmarks all you want. You can change the color. Deleting and playing with your list of bookmarks are shortcuts to the pages. When you're in the pages view, when you deal with page labels, you don't want to be deleting page labels and you don't want to be deleting pages, because when you delete the pages, you're actually changing the document. But the bookmarks, you can reorganize, you can do anything you want because they're all shortcut keys to help you navigate a set of drawings. Okay? If you're going to create a page label, this just shows you video. You come up here, you click under the tabs, you go underneath and hit create. And it gives you the options of I can either pull the information from your bookmarks and bring it in, or I can look for a certain page region. And then you just hit save. Okay? So we've covered a large amount of information. Those are the kind of the key features that estimators use in regards to bookmarking stuff. I will bookmark contracts to bookmark, say, okay, I want to jump to the billings page. I want to jump to, there's full insurance pages When I go through a contract, I will section it out so that it's available for the whole team to jump to the pages that apply to them. So feel free to use that. Now, in this part, we want to do any additional resources. So Bluebeam, if you guys are on Bluebeam right now, there's an additional resources tab. If you go up to the top in your command bar, you select help, and in the command bar, you're going to see a thing that says resources. When you select resources, Bluebeam opens up a web tab inside of Bluebeam. So think of it as like a web browser instead of Google Chrome or Safari. Bluebeam has its own web browser. It opens up its own tab, and it takes you to the Bluebeam website where you'll see the tutorials down at the bottom. You can watch tutorials on, there's over, I think there's something like, there's hundreds. When I last counted it was over 100 video tutorials. They're broken down in like 2 to 3 minute sections about particular tools, how to use tool count, how to use batch link, how to use the videos that you and I just saw in regards to bookmarks, to automark, to how to do document review, how to manage contracts, how to use Studio, how to do takeoffs. All those items are in here, so there's a vast video tutorial library for you to look at if you have any questions about Bluebeam or want further information. Also, as part of this, some of the next sections that I'm going to ask the team to look at, to dive deeper into for your own, is comparing drawings, overlay enhancements, sets. Sets is a feature that allows you to take all your drawings and compile them together to put them into sets. How to split a document. Now, Kim, the split document is a super productive tool when managing sets of drawings or large files. You can split your document out and it will automatically compartmentalize stuff. So example would be, let's say the general contractor, they have the entire set of drawings, volumes 1, 2, and 3. It's over 1,000 pages of drawings. You can import it in and hit split document, and it will pull just out the architectural set. So
I was wondering about that, yeah.
Yeah, so split documents allows you that feature to do that. So you can watch that tutorial video. For estimators that are estimating on Bluebeam, Spaces is the feature that allows you to highlight an area and any markups that happen on it. It will summarize those areas. I will use this Spaces also inside of contracts. I will highlight an area called exclusions, and I'll call that an exclusion space, and any markups that occur on that, it will highlight in the markup list down below saying, hey, in your exclusions area, you have 2 markups. Okay, then there's space enhancements, batch links, studio sessions. So these are the video tutorials that if you were to get started, you can either click on the links that I have here, which will be part of your thing, or you can look for it on your additional resources. Okay, so Bluebeam is a vast world, and I hope you get a chance to see and get a feel of it. There's lots of tools that increase our efficiency. The main ones being bookmark and page labels to navigate drawings, but there's a ton of other features in there that I'll work with each of the teams to work in regards to estimating tools and how to use it to do quick measurements, to do quick takeoff when we're sending stuff over to our general contractors. And I'll work with different departments on speed and efficiencies, tools, tips, and tricks. Is there any question about anything that we've covered? I know it was a large amount, and thank you for your time in going through that. But if you have any questions about anything at all, whatever you ask here is going to help the team. So.
Good. No questions here.
And you're sharing this link to the PowerPoint?
Yeah, I'm going to share a link to the PowerPoint, and I can also share the PowerPoint with you if you would request. I've already shared it with Chelsea and Allison and Vanessa. If you would like a copy of it, I can share it also with you. so that it's available to anybody that's on this call and anybody else watching this video.
Dickie, are you going to store it somewhere in the cloud?
If you'd like, I can store the I store the video. This video presentation, this training is under David M. Schmidt.
Management group, marketing, or not marketing, marketing training videos, I think.
Yeah. So I will send out a follow-up link with saying, hi, here's your PowerPoint presentation, and here's a link to the video for you guys to be able to watch it at any other point in time.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Dickie.
All right. Thanks, guys. All right.
Thanks, Jakey. All right.
All right.
And then we're doing the. I just sent you an email that they sent back.